Hello and welcome to EIV News at 9. I'm Ross Ketchke.
And I'm Chloe Thibault. We begin with tonight's top stories. Police are investigating a drug-related fatal shooting of a California man that took place late Monday night in Attleboro. Officials received a 911 call around 11 p.m. from a man who said that his brother was shot in a home on South Avenue. The individual said that the two suspects had been in the home trying to steal marijuana. The 34-year-old male victim was identified as Thomas Pomare of Santa Barbara, California. He was taken to Sturdy Memorial Hospital where he died Tuesday morning. Police are looking for two individuals who reportedly left the scene in a burgundy-colored Jeep. The vehicle was last seen heading towards I-95.
Two people are missing at sea after a fishing boat sank off the coast of Nantucket. The Coast Guard says it received distress calls from the Misty Blue around 6 p.m. on Monday. A nearby boat rescued two of the four crew members, and a search and rescue operation is now underway to find the remaining sailors. New Bedford's Mayor John Mitchell said he's monitoring the rescue effort closely, and his city's prayers are with the missing fishermen and their families. The cause of that sinking is still under investigation.
A medical examiner has been placed on leave after a camera used to take pictures of deceased bodies disappeared. A spokesperson from the Office of Public Safety and Security said that the camera and its memory card were reported missing from the Holyoke office last week. Employees searched but were not able to find either of the missing items. The camera was used by the medical examiner during his investigations, but it was never used at a crime scene. The medical examiner has not been identified but is currently on paid leave while the investigation continues. Officials notified next of kin for 801 people who died between 2015 and 2017.
Activists rallied outside the State House Tuesday afternoon to demand improved workers' rights. The demonstrations submitted petition for a $15 an hour minimum wage and guaranteed paid family leave. The first proposal would require all Massachusetts businesses to pay workers at least $15 an hour for every hour of service. The second would require businesses to pay at least 90% of employees' full-time salary while recovering from serious illnesses. Labor unions and activists collected almost 275,000 signatures for the petitions. They would still need roughly 10,000 more to get their proposals on 2018's voter ballot.
Former Essex District Attorney Kevin Burke will be leading an investigation on state police report revisions concerning the arrest of a judge's daughter. Police Superintendent Carrie Gilpin is the acting police boss after Colonel Richard McKeon retired abruptly last month. McKeon faces accusations that he ordered a trooper to get rid of embarrassing information from the report to protect his daughter. Police said that the daughter had failed to pass a sobriety test and appeared to have a heroin addiction after an accident in Worcester in October. Gilpin said that she will continue the investigation, but believes that an independent probe is needed to avoid conflict of interest.
Now let's check in with our correspondent Kayla LaRosa for a look at the latest national news. What do you have for us, Kayla?
After much controversy surrounding Representative John Conyers, the Michigan representative has announced his retirement. Conyers is the longest-serving congressman, and his sudden, immediately effective retirement follows the release of a document where former staffer Elisa Grubbs claimed that she'd been inappropriately touched by him in the past. Grubbs also witnessed other women being inappropriately touched by Conyers in his office from 2001 to 2013. This resignation will effectively end the House Ethics Inquiry. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court discussed religious beliefs and anti-discrimination laws surrounding a case where a Christian baker refused to make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple. Justice Anthony Kennedy was unsettled by the situation, believing that the state of Colorado went too far in making the baker implement remedial training for his employees. Justice Kennedy also expressed his concerns for gay couples being refused services. The Supreme Court was overall very divided among the usual ideological lines. For the case, the Trump administration has sided with the baker, arguing that the government's interest in preventing discrimination based on sexual orientation isn't as strong as it is with race. President Donald Trump endorsed Roy Moore in the Alabama Senate race in a tweet Monday morning. Moore, who is running against Democrat Doug Jones in a special election, has been accused of sexually assaulting young girls. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the president's position hasn't changed and he still finds the allegations concerning, but that he would rather have a person who supports his agenda than someone who opposes his agenda in office. The president's decision to endorse Roy Moore is extremely controversial, since Moore has been accused of initiating sexual contact with a 14-year-old girl and sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl when he was in his 30s. That's all for political news. Now back to the anchors.
Thanks, Kayla. On Monday, CVS announced its plan to buy the insurance company Aetna. Aetna is the third largest health insurer in the country, and so the $69 billion deal could impact patients. The companies state that their intent is to make more clinics and services available in the nearly 10,000 CVS locations. Senator Elizabeth Warren said in a statement on Monday, however, that she is, quote, very concerned. The Boston nonprofit Healthcare for All said that both CVS and Aetna have billions of dollars, and it wants to make sure that these companies have their consumers' best interests in mind. The Department of Justice and the Antitrust Division still need to approve the deal.
The state Senate president has stepped down from his leadership role on Beacon Hill. On Sunday, Senator Stanley Rosenberg's husband, Byron Hefner, was accused of sending unsolicited nude photos of himself to another state politician. Hefner has also been accused of sexual assault by at least 4 other men. Just hours after Rosenberg stepped down, Attorney General Maura Healey and the Suffolk County DA's office announced they are opening an investigation into those allegations.
UPS drivers around the country could be scheduled up to 70 hours during an 8-day period due to record shipping volumes. The union that represents these drivers in New England accused the company on Monday of putting, quote, profits before people. Union members fear that extra hours could lead to driver fatigue, which could result in injuries and put both drivers and the public at risk. The 70-hour rule will be in effect through early January, and company spokesman Steve Gott said that it complies with the Department of Transportation regulations. This is the first year that this law has been put in effect over Massachusetts. UPS currently has about 2,100 drivers in Massachusetts and nearly 75,000 nationwide.
A Lynn man was denied bail on Monday after he's been charged for alleged sexual misconduct with 3 children. Investigators say 74-year-old James Finn lured 2 girls and a boy as young as 8 years old into his apartment with candy. Police say that's when Finn exposed himself to the children and touched one of the girls over her clothes. The incident was reportedly interrupted when one of the children's mothers knocked on the door. She says the suspect smelled like alcohol and had his fly pulled down when he answered the door. Finn is expected back in court tomorrow for a dangerousness hearing.
And coming up, we'll have more information about the teenagers arrested for driving stolen vehicles in Whitman.
And we'll have the latest about a pattern of crime in Braintree that has police worried.
And when we return, weather correspondent Kayla Martin will have the latest on tomorrow's weather forecast. Stick around.
Host of EIV's The Dish. Tune in every Friday for your chance to see what kind of bow tie I pulled out of my closet today.
Maggie, did you pick up the scripts yet?
No, that was your job.
Maggie, oh my god, I do it every week.
No,
I told you this is the one
but we
I
talked
didn't
about
want
this.
responsibility.
Okay. I need to pick my wedgie.
Oh my god, look, they got us slushies. Brain freeze. Oh my god, we're here.
He's queer.
Now get used to it. Come on, give me my mic. Mic me.
Okay, so.
Hi, I'm Christian Mudrick.
And I'm Maggie Morlap.
And you're watching Real Reactions.
On the Emerson channel.
Welcome back. We're now joined in studio by our weather correspondent, Kayla Martin.
What can we expect this week, Kayla?
It looks like we're going to have a week with fairly clear skies. Today was clear but chilly
with a windy day and a high of 51 and a low 31. We can expect similar humidity for today and the rest of the week, staying fairly consistent between 50 to 60%. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be a fairly nice day, mostly sunny with no chance of rain and only a slight wind at 13 miles per hour. The high will be 43 and the low will be 28. Friday looks like it's going to be the last clear day of the week with 0% chance of rain, although it will be mostly cloudy. We can start to expect those cooler temps, especially going into the second weekend in December. The temps for this weekend are ranging from the high 30s to the mid-20s. Boston may get its first snowfall this season coming up this weekend. And there is a 60% chance of either snow or rain this Saturday and a 30% chance for Sunday, easing us into a typical New England winter. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your weather correspondent, Kayla Martin. Now back to the desk.
Chloe, you were telling me that you're not too excited for the snow.
I think we can hold off a couple weeks, but we need a white Christmas. That's my only concern.
See, I want to get up and go skiing before the holidays start, because that's when it just gets crazy.
True. I'm not much of a skier, but whatever works for you, Ross.
Fair enough. Hoping for that white Christmas, though, for sure. All right. Well, 2 teenage boys were arrested early Monday morning following a high-speed chase through 3 towns. Whitman police say they tried to pull over a Dodge Charger and a BMW SE around 3 a.m. The 2 drivers sped off in different directions. Police followed the Charger into West Bridgewater, where it crashed through the front yard of a Walnut Street home. Police said the 15-year-old driver smashed through fences and street signs before trying to flee on foot. He was arrested in a backyard shortly after. Police found the keys to several stolen cars inside of the Charger. Whitman police found the second suspect while responding to a report of a damaged truck on Temple Street. Investigators found the keys to the BMW inside the 16-year-old's pocket. Both suspects are expected to be arraigned in juvenile court later this week.
And a string of car thefts in Braintree is prompting local police departments to remind residents about the 9 p.m. routine, locking your car before bed. Braintree police say about 30 cars in the area have been broken into since last weekend. Among the items stolen are an iPod, a computer, and a bottle of cologne. Officials discovered the suspect breaking into a vehicle early Monday morning on Cedar Cliff Road, but the suspect fled the scene and managed to escape on foot. All the vehicles that have been broken into were unlocked. No other information about the suspect is available at this time.
2 aides to Mayor Marty Walsh are facing extortion and conspiracy charges after pressuring the Boston Calling Music Festival into hiring union workers. Attorneys for Kenneth Brissett and Timothy Sullivan are asking for the trial to be delayed after the language of their indictments was modified. The 2 men are accused of withholding city permits from festival organizers. Brissett and Sullivan pled not guilty to the federal indictment on Monday. Their attorneys say the 2 men did not commit a crime. Their trial is set to begin on January 8th.
A Holliston man was arrested for speeding while rushing his beloved dog to the hospital. Peter Rogatio's Doberman Thor was run over by 2 vehicles on Thursday and suffered 3 broken legs. Rogatio called 911 but became frustrated with the delayed response and took matters into his own hands. Natick police spotted his aggressive driving and chased him for more than a mile before setting up a roadblock on Hartford Street. When police caught up with Rogatio and handcuffed him, they noticed the dog in the back seat. Rogatio says the officers, quote, took the dog and then took me to jail. Rogatio has been released from jail and Thor is expected to make a full recovery.
We're now joined by our international correspondent, Brooke Johnson, for a look at what's happening around the world. What can you tell us, Brooke?
On Tuesday, Austria's top court ruled that same-sex couples can marry come 2019. The court ruled the law that bans same-sex couples from marrying as discriminatory. In 2010, Austria ruled that same-sex couples could enter into legal partnerships but not official marriage. The recent legalization is a result of a complaint made by 2 women who contested the authorities' refusal to accept their marriage proposal. CNN reports the new law doesn't come into effect until December 31, 2018. In the meantime, civil partnerships will still be available and now open to heterosexual couples as well. The former president of Yemen was killed Monday after being allegedly attacked by a band of rebel fighters. Deposed President Ali Abdullah Saleh ruled Yemen for more than 3 decades before being ousted 6 years ago. He maintained his influence, though, working from behind the scenes to shape the country in recent years. Saleh's death is one of many casualties resulting from the ongoing civil war in Yemen. The Houthis, the rebel group in Yemen, have claimed responsibility for the assassination. Saleh's death has raised new doubts about the military strategy of the Saudi-led, U.S.-backed coalition. Last week, residents of a small northern Japanese town were shocked to find a washed-up fishing boat full of skeletons. The vessel was only 23 feet long, and the bodies found aboard were so decayed that only the bones remained. Authorities found clues, such as an empty cigarette packet, to indicate that those on board were from North Korea. The Washington Post speculates that those found were likely trying to defect from North Korea, joining the 30,000 North Koreans who have left the country since the famine of the mid-1990s. Outside the 30,000, there are the unknown number who don't survive their attempts to escape or are caught and face severe punishment in North Korea. Authorities are continuing to investigate the ship in hopes of clearer answers. That's the latest in international news. I've been your host, Brooke Johnson. Now back to the anchors.
Thanks, Brooke. Marijuana regulation in Massachusetts is racking up quite a price tag. Governor Charlie Baker signed a bill Monday that appropriates $2.7 million to the Cannabis Control Commission. This, on top of their $2.3 million reserve fund, gives the commission a $5 million budget for the rest of the fiscal year, which ends in June. The 5-member panel originally asked for $7 million to manage the implementation of the voter-approved recreational marijuana law. The commission hopes to release their proposed regulations by the end of the year and start distributing licenses for retail marijuana outlets by mid-2018.
Massachusetts lawmakers are seeking an updated audit of the Boston public school system's spending. Last month, the IRS fined the school system $1 million for mishandling funds and paying employees under the table. However, following new realizations, the state auditor has run into an interesting problem. Her office can only investigate the school department's spending if the city requests and pays for the audit. The city has not released an official statement on the allegations of misuse of spending or the audit.
Christmas is about to get a lot comfier for 50 Massachusetts students living in poverty. Over the weekend, Salem State University students and alumni gathered for their first ever Build a Bed challenge. The nearly 100 volunteers were put into pairs and given materials, instructions, and the name of a child who is in need of a bed. The event was sponsored by the Massachusetts Coalition for the Homeless Initiative, A Bed for Every Child.
Now let's check in with business and technology correspondent Medina Sheehy. What's the latest, Medina?
CVS Health is taking a big risk. In a $69 billion acquisition, CVS has acquired the health insurance provider Aetna. This is a move to bring pharmacy benefit management and insurance under the same roof by making more use of walk-in clinics for patients. This deal will strain CVS drastically because most of the offer is in cash. This could also drop Aetna's healthcare costs significantly, which will boost the healthcare's profitability. This is shaking up CVS's business model while also creating a competitive edge in the healthcare world. Uber's massive data breach has led to the resignation of 3 of its members of its security team, as well as a 4th member taking a medical leave. This happened after the surprise disclosure of a year-long data breach, as well as a damaging letter from a former employee explaining in detail all the secret operations that were held. Chief Executive Dara Khosrow-Shahi explained that Uber paid hackers $100,000 to conceal a data breach. He states, "None of this should have happened, and I will not make excuses for it. Uber needs to do a lot to repair this damage." Walt Disney is coming back to talks with 21st Century Fox to purchase some of their assets. Disney wants to purchase 20th Century Fox movie and TV studio, Fox 39% holding in UK satellite, TV provider Sky PLC, and India Star TV, along with some US cable networks. However, Fox News and other broadcasting networks are not in the talks, the Wall Street Journal reports. We'll find out by the end of this year if Disney is going to become an even bigger powerhouse than it already is. The media world is a changing landscape, which makes this transaction one that could be the next turning point for these two giants. That's all I have for business and technology. Now let's get back to the anchors.
You know what would be the hands-down coolest thing if Disney does end up buying 20th Century Fox?
What?
Disney would finally have the rights to the original unaltered cuts of Star Wars: A New Hope, and we'd finally be able to see it. We'd be able to see Han shoot first.
That's true.
It would be great.
It's going to be interesting to see how much bigger Disney can really get.
Yeah, which at this point doesn't seem possible, but I guess they're going to figure it out. The Assumption College soccer team has found its next star, and he's only 9 years old. Walter Corbett is from Clinton, Massachusetts. He was offered a spot on the Greyhounds roster thanks to Team Impact, an organization that matches seriously ill children with local sports teams. Walter was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at age 7, which has limited his activities, but he says he's going to have fun and get better playing soccer with his Assumption College team. Coach DJ Carrero said it's not only a great experience for Walter, but for all of the players on his roster.
Haverhill police got creative with their report on stolen holiday packages. Using the tale "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" as inspiration, the department made a Facebook post detailing their capture of the thief and recovery of the packages. Part of the post stated, quote, "The gifts were returned, the thieves went to cells, and all of the officers were pleased with themselves." The officers ended the post by thanking the neighbor who reported seeing the thief and reassuring Haverhill residents that the police were ready to protect and proud to serve.
Former Vice President Joe Biden came to town on Monday to promote his new book. Promise Me, Dad, A Year of Hope, Hardship, and Purpose details how the loss of Biden's son impacted his political career. The former Delaware senator gave a vague answer about a potential presidential run to the audience at the Wilbur Theater. He has previously said that he's not totally ruled out running next term, but honest to God, he doesn't know. He will continue his book tour through the end of 2018.
And Hillary Clinton is making her first appearance in New Hampshire since the 2016 presidential election. Clinton is visiting Concord to promote and sign copies of her new book, What Happened. The former presidential candidate won this state's 4 electoral college votes. Boston can also expect a visit from Clinton, where she will be honored by the Big Sister Association of Greater Boston with their Believe in Girls Award for her efforts towards the advancement of females. Chapter president and CEO Deb Ryan believes Clinton to be the embodiment of the group's values of self-confidence and resilience.
When we come back, we'll have the latest on a holiday classic, Girl Scout cookies.
And your chance to join the Boston Pops Orchestra for a night, coming up.
Welcome back, Emersonians. I'm Peyton Lewis, the host of the Evie-nominated and Evie-losing show, Common Agenda. Last season, we may have had a midlife crisis, but this summer we really found ourselves. After some deep soul-searching and some long nights mourning our defeat, we're back here for another season of the saltiest content and shenanigans on the Emerson channel. This season, we'll dive deep into Emerson's favorite subcultures: film bros, hipsters, and other white boys with brown hair. Turn us on Monday evenings at 8:30 on the Emerson channel.
Guys, I cannot have any more ramen.
Yeah, this food is really disgusting.
These are herbal cough drops.
Well, they're better than nothing.
I have some fruit if you guys want.
Those are Skittles.
Just trying my best.
Well, maybe we can just go to the DH?
What?
Oh my god, that stuff is prison food.
Well, do you have any other ideas?
Well, I'm like starving, so like we have to do something.
Did someone say something? Hi kids, Kitchen Man here. Did you know you can tune into Emerson Channel College Kitchen for great dorm-friendly, budget-friendly recipes?
Okay, but like what if I need to go out to brunch with my girls?
Try Taste of Boston, where we profile great local restaurants in the Boston area.
What if I only want to eat competitive chef's food?
Tune in to Sliced, our brand new competitive cooking show.
I want to watch College Kitchen.
But wait! We are College Kitchen!
Welcome back to EIV News at 9. Chloe, what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Ross, I just told you, I like them all, but I would probably have to say Caramel Delights or Samoas. Those have always been
Okay, those are definitely two of my favorites, and great news because it's time for that satisfying year-long craving to come to an end. Thin Mints, Samoas, they are all coming back. This Tuesday will mark the beginning of Girl Scout cookie season once again here in the Bay State. The Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts have a very, very specialized cookie locator that you can use to find the closest seller in your community on their website. You can also order cookies directly online, or you can download their Cookie Finder app. Western Massachusetts will have to wait until January, though, for the beginning of their cookie season.
And a holiday tradition for many, the Boston Pops Orchestra is now giving one lucky winner the chance to be a part of their performance next week, narrating "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." This is an annual honor previously held by notable stars like Robin Williams and Ben Affleck. Contestants have to post videos of themselves reciting the holiday poem on social media with the hashtag #TwasThePops by December 8th. The winner will share the stage with the orchestra December 13th. In total, the Boston Pops have 40 holiday concerts scheduled until the end of the month.
On Friday, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker voiced his support for moving the Pawtucket Red Sox from Rhode Island to Worcester. The governor says this move presents a great opportunity for Worcester and that the state would help in any way that it could. Baker even offered to aid in new infrastructure and public investment, but he did not provide a specific budget or timeline for that support. Rhode Island is in the midst of negotiating a new deal to build an $83 million stadium for the Paw Sox, but Worcester and several other Massachusetts cities are also interested in welcoming the Red Sox AAA club.
And now to keep you up to date with everything happening in the world of sports, here's Jack Almer.
In New England Patriots news, tight end Rob Gronkowski has been suspended 1 game by the NFL for a cheap shot he took on Buffalo Bills defensive back Tre'Davious White. The play in question occurred in the fourth quarter after Gronkowski reportedly was upset that White wasn't called for a pass interference penalty prior to an interception. While White was on the ground, Gronk dove toward his head, striking the back of White's helmet and neck with his shoulder. The suspension will cost Gronk over $280,000 in game checks and game day roster bonuses. He did appeal the suspension, but it was denied yesterday. Greg Mish of SiriusXM reported the Boston Red Sox are no longer in trade talks with the Miami Marlins for superstar outfielder Giancarlo Stanton, noting they were a long shot from the beginning. Stanton is the reigning National League MVP after he had a .281 batting average with 59 home runs and 132 RBI in 2017. However, Stanton's massive contract likely threw a wrench into the Red Sox plans to acquire him. He's owed $295 million over the remainder of a 13-year, $325 million contract he signed back in 2014. Stanton's deal will not expire until 2028 and pays him at least $25 million each season. Boston Celtics head coach Brad Stevens was named the NBA's Coach of the Month for November. Stevens led the league in wins for the month of November and recorded the NBA's best overall mark for the year. Boston compiled a 14-2 record during the month of November, including a league-leading 16-game win streak that ran from October 20th to November 20th. The Coach of the Month honor was the third of Stevens' career, with many more likely on the horizon for the Boston headman. That's the latest in sports. Now back to the anchors.
Thanks, Jack. And retail giant Target intends to open 2 new small format stores in Cambridge and Burlington next year. These stores will be much smaller than typical Targets, about a fourth of the size of the one in the Fenway neighborhood. Similar stores already exist in places like Packard's Corner and Central Square. Cambridge residents have mixed receptions towards the Target's arrival, with some excited about the store and others concerned about its effect on small businesses in the neighborhood. The company also plans to expand its small format stores in Medford and Rosendale, with an estimated total of 130 small format stores by the end of 2019.
On Friday, Worcester officially welcomed its holiday season with their annual Festival of Lights. Thousands flocked to the Worcester Common for the celebration. The event featured performances from Worcester native and former American Idol contestant Jessica Cabral. The festival also included horse-drawn sleigh rides and an appearance from Santa Claus himself.
An anonymous person donated a brooch worth $5,000 to the Salvation Army. They dropped the gold and diamond fish-shaped brooch into a Salvation Army red kettle near the Macy's in Boston's downtown crossing. The brooch features 18-karat gold and 32 diamonds. The act of donating expensive jewelry to the Salvation Army has now become an annual tradition, starting in 2014.
That's all the time we have for EIV News. A Marshfield girl is making her Christmas mission to help children in need this holiday season. 11-year-old Lily Brown organized a toy drive and has collected over 100 toys so far. She's received a tremendous amount of support after her mother posted about her efforts on social media. Some of those donations have come from as far away as Florida. Lily has no intentions of slowing down, with a new goal of collecting 120 toys. At the end of the drive, all gifts will be donated to Toys for Tots.
And that is all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for watching EIV News at 9 this semester. I'm Chloe Tebow.
And I'm Ross Ketchke. Good night.